Let's be brutally honest. Prince Harry looks completely lost. This is a man who was once handed the keys to freedom, fame, and fortune and somehow managed to lock himself inside his own mental prison. At first, the whole thing looked like a fairy tale. A rebellious prince breaking away from palace rules, choosing love over legacy, running off into the California sun with Meghan Markle. It was painted as the ultimate love story. Royal traditions smashed to pieces for true love. But fast forward to today, that love story feels more like a car crash we're all being forced to watch in slow motion. Harry's the one standing in the wreckage pretending the disaster is some kind of catwalk show. And here's the bitter truth no one wants to say out loud. Harry's marriage to Meghan Markle might be the biggest reason his entire life has spiraled into chaos. Forget fairy tale gone wrong. This isn't just a stumble, this is a total derailment. Ask yourself this, since Harry married Meghan, what good has actually come his way? Be honest. Apart from their two kids, Archie and Lilibet, who, let's be real, are innocent blessings, what has improved? Nothing. Instead, everything that once defined Harry is gone. Career, collapsed, family bonds, torched, reputation, mocked to death, his peace of mind, nowhere to be found. Look at what he's lost. The Spotify deal blew up in flames. The executives didn't even try to soften the blow, they outright called him a grifter. His podcast, dead. Not even Meghan's Rolodex of celebrity guests could breathe life into that disaster. Then there's the Netflix saga. Sure, it started with a $100 million bang, but now Netflix can barely stand him. The spotlight's shifted and all eyes are glued to Meghan's next big solo project. Her book, her documentary, her lifestyle empire. Notice the theme? It's all about her. Harry, he's reduced to nothing more than a background prop in her show. And let's not forget Harry's own genius idea, the Polo documentary. Yes, Polo. That was the entire title. Not royal rides, not the King's Game, not even something cheeky like Hooves and Airs. Just Polo. It was so dull it made people wonder if the entire creative team had gone out for coffee and never returned. Nobody watched it. Honestly, if the horses featured in it had Netflix subscriptions, even they would have skipped it. Meanwhile, every time Harry dares open his mouth in public, it's either a lawsuit or another sob story. He's stacked up more court cases than medals, and the outcomes? Disastrous. Losing battles, hemorrhaging millions, and all for what? To remind people that he doesn't feel safe in the UK because he gave up his royal protection by choice. You can't throw away the job and still demand the perks. Reality doesn't work that way. Even the charities he once championed are in shambles. Take Sentabale, his pride and joy, his tribute to Princess Diana. Instead of being a shining legacy, it's now buried under internal chaos, accusations, and a public image crash. What should have been his anchor to his mother's memory has turned into a PR dumpster fire. And while Harry's spinning in circles, living in a multi-million-dollar mansion in Montecito, his daily life looks humiliating. Taking out the trash, vacuuming floors, running errands like Meghan's personal assistant. A far cry from the dashing soldier prince the world once admired. And Meghan? What's she doing through all this? Silence. Dead silence. She's still married to him, sure, but the emotional exit has already happened. She's checked out. She knows the marriage still benefits her, the titles, the Duchess status, the royal shine without the suffocating responsibilities. She's clever like that. Meghan understands that staying tied to Harry keeps her relevant, but emotionally, she's already packing her bags, one eye on her next reinvention. And Harry? He clings on desperately to the idea of true love, even as his world crumbles around him. Here's the part no one wants to spell out. Harry isn't Meghan's prisoner. He's trapped by his own pride. Deep down, he knows this marriage isn't working. He's not blind, but admitting it would mean admitting that he made a colossal mistake, that he burned down his family bridges, turned his back on the only institution that gave him purpose, and all for a dream that never gave him what he thought it would. And Meghan? She doesn't even bother to hide her game anymore. She's already got the titles, the platform, the celebrity network. The only thing she doesn't have is serious independent money. And Harry, he was just the ticket into the castle. Now, he's set dressing, useful but replaceable. Just watch the way she treats him in public. Her body language screams louder than words. She commands the spotlight while Harry trails behind, eyes down, arms full of bags, umbrellas, or coats. He looks like the hired help. And the saddest part? Harry still believes he's the prince in charge. Even royal experts are done sugarcoating it. Ingrid Seward, one of the most well-connected voices in the royal world, didn't hold back. Meghan is the problem. She's the immovable obstacle standing between Harry and peace with his family. William doesn't trust her. Charles is torn. The palace insiders have written Harry off. And the British public, they've gone from intrigued to embarrassed to outright hostile. But it's not just Britain. The American audience is losing patience too. The heroic prince who escaped image has crumbled. People see the contradictions. Privacy speeches followed by Netflix tell-alls, trauma confessions that feel more like performance art than healing. And worst of all, Harry's spark is gone. The cheeky, army-serving, fun-loving prince has vanished. What's left is a man sulking in a mansion weighed down by resentment and regret. And if losing his spark wasn't enough, let's talk about the money. For a man who stormed away from the royal payroll, Harry sure knows how to bleed cash. Court cases alone have drained him of millions. He's suing governments, newspapers, anyone who even breathes in his direction, and he's losing most of them. His name is turning into a financial liability, the kind that makes investors shudder and business partners back away quietly. Meanwhile, Meghan, she's plotting her solo run. Rumors are already swirling about a tell-all memoir, a polished rebrand with Netflix, maybe even a lifestyle empire. And whispers are getting louder. She's got her eyes on a billionaire, because the only thing missing from her empire is serious independent wealth. Some people even say she's already lining up someone like Rupert Murdoch. Sounds wild, right? But with Meghan, it tracks. She's ambitious, sharp, and transactional. Harry opened the gates to the castle, but in her story, he's not the hero. He's the footnote, the X. And the brutal part? Meghan's strategy is clear. Every day Harry sticks around, he sinks deeper into irrelevance. The royal family won't touch him while she's in the picture. The public won't rally behind a man who looks this beaten down. And Meghan, she's already writing the next chapter, with or without him. But here's the kicker. William holds all the cards now. Not Charles, not Camilla, not the palace aides. It's William, Harry's own brother, who's drawn the hardest line. And that line cuts right through Meghan Markle. As long as she's beside Harry, there's no path back. Not to the palace, not to the family, not even to the possibility of a civil brotherly bond. William hasn't forgotten. He hasn't forgotten the knives Harry threw in spare. He hasn't forgotten the public betrayal of Kate. He hasn't forgotten how Harry painted his family like villains in a Netflix soap opera. Maybe one day forgiveness could exist, but not while Meghan's still in the frame. And Harry, despite it all, he still yearns for connection. It shows in every interview, every book, every carefully chosen quote. He wants his father's approval. He wants his brother's camaraderie back. But here's the ugly truth. He wants all of that without facing the consequences. He wants the California mansion and the royal respect, the freedom from duty and the perks of the throne. But life doesn't work that way. At some point, you have to pick a side, and time is running out. Charles won't reign forever. His health is already a quiet concern. And when that crown passes, it's William's world. And William, he won't play the forgiveness game. No secret midnight chats, no olive branches, no slow family rebuilds. When William is king, it's done. No room for Harry and Meghan, no compromises. And Meghan knows it. That's why she's hedging her bets, keeping the marriage intact just long enough to milk every ounce of royal shine. The titles, the branding, the Duchess image, it all holds value as long as she's attached to him. But the second Harry becomes more burden than benefit, she'll drop him, just like she's dropped everyone else. Her ex-husband, her father, her siblings, even friends who no longer served her path. Erased, forgotten. That's the pattern. So here we are at the brink of Harry's moment of truth. If he wants to reclaim even a shred of dignity, he has to act first. He needs to be the one to walk away. Not out of spite, not for revenge, but simply to take back control of his own story. Because here's the danger. If Meghan files first, she controls the narrative. It'll be her story of resilience, her escape from a toxic marriage, her perfectly curated Netflix special and tell-all memoir. She'll sell herself as the survivor, and Harry, he'll be cast as the bitter ex, forgotten, replaced. But if Harry moves first, if he's the one to file for divorce, it flips everything. Suddenly, he's not the abandoned husband. He's the man who finally took a stand. The man who realized enough was enough. That single act could spark a redemption arc the media would devour. The public would sympathize. Even the royals might, just might, consider a cautious reconciliation. Not a full return to palace life. That ship has sailed, but a seat at the table, a chance to see his father without tension, maybe even a slow, careful handshake from William. In the royal world, leaving Meghan would scream louder than any apology ever could. And it wouldn't just patch up royal ties, it could save Harry himself. Because right now he looks broken, lost, bitter. The public sees it. The press feeds on it. Even his allies are struggling to defend him. This isn't a marriage anymore. It's a collapse happening in real time. And the longer he drags it out, the worse the ending will be. Divorce in this case isn't failure. It's survival. Harry has one final shot to turn the tide. Walk away before Meghan cashes out. Take back control before the headlines write him off as yesterday's man. File first, own the fallout, and maybe, just maybe, start fresh. Not as the runaway royal, not as Meghan's husband, but finally as himself. Because if he waits too long, the story ends without him. And Meghan? She'll already be halfway into her next chapter, leaving him as nothing more than a footnote in her climb to the top.